Have you ever observed how many vibrant older adults seem to experience a decline after reaching their 80s? Even individuals who were notably sharp and active just a short while earlier sometimes begin to show signs of slowing down considerably. It's a common assumption that life trajectory past 80 is primarily determined by our genetic inheritance or simple chance, but that perspective doesn't capture the complete picture. The reality is far more nuanced. In this discussion, we aim to shed light on 5 often unrecognized contributing factors, aspects frequently missed and seldom discussed, that help clarify why numerous seniors encounter difficulties in maintaining health and achieving longevity beyond the age of 80. These elements go beyond the usual health advice concerning diet, smoking habits, or physical activity levels. They delve into more subtle, underlying influences that can easily be overlooked, even by those who have diligently followed conventional health wisdom throughout their lives. If you find insights like these valuable for navigating the later years, we warmly invite you to like this video and subscribe to Old Age Wisdom to ensure you receive more content designed for thriving in older age. The encouraging news is that once you become aware of these subtle influences, you gain the power to address them proactively. So, if you've ever pondered the genuine obstacles to a long and vibrant life after turning 80, and if you're keen to learn how to safeguard your well-being while you still can, please stay engaged through the end of this video. Discovering these 5 unexpected reasons could fundamentally alter your approach to aging before challenges arise. Let's begin exploring these critical factors together. The first, and perhaps one of the most disregarded reasons many seniors face challenges after 80, involves the quiet erosion of what specialists term microsocial engagement. This doesn't refer to your close friendships or significant family events, although those remain vitally important. Instead, it encompasses the multitude of minor, seemingly trivial daily interactions that once populated your day without conscious effort. Consider the frequency with which you might have exchanged greetings with the postal carrier, shared a brief moment of humor with a store clerk, or offered a simple nod to a neighbor walking their pet. These fleeting moments of human connection served a crucial purpose beyond mere pleasantries. They played a role in regulating your nervous system, strengthening your feelings of community inclusion, and maintaining the agility of your brain's social pathways. However, as individuals move past 80, many find themselves less likely to run errands personally, perhaps opting for online deliveries or relying on family assistance. Conversations with unfamiliar people might dwindle due to hearing difficulties, or outdoor walks might cease because of inclement weather or unsteady joints. When these small points of social contact begin to diminish, a corresponding decrease in vitality often follows. What's particularly noteworthy is that this decline frequently goes unnoticed. People may believe they are merely simplifying their routines when in fact, they are inadvertently stripping away the low-intensity social stimuli essential for optimal brain function, mood elevation, and signaling to the body a continued connection to the vibrant, everyday world around them. Staying connected doesn't require elaborate plans. I've known gentlemen in their 80s who maintained mental sharpness largely because they adhered to a simple routine, a daily walk to the same cafe, exchanging pleasantries with familiar staff, and acknowledging the same few people encountered along the way. This brief, 5-minute interlude of human contact wasn't just habitual, it was a vital source of life, providing structure to their day, fostering a sense of accountability, and reinforcing their visibility within the community. We believe sharing knowledge is key to a fulfilling later life. If you agree, please take a moment to like this video or subscribe to Old Age Wisdom for more helpful content. There's a tangible biological price paid when these connections fade. The brain interprets loneliness, both profound and subtle, as a significant stressor. This perception triggers changes in hormone levels, elevates systemic inflammation, and compromises the immune system's effectiveness. Critically, it can lead to a reduction in the brain networks governing memory, attention span, and the regulation of emotions. Put simply, this process accelerates the feeling and experience of aging. Therefore, if you've noticed a decrease in your daily conversations, if you've curtailed small outings, stopped initiating casual chats, or begun to feel somewhat invisible within your surroundings, now is the opportune moment to consciously reverse that pattern. Remember, those seemingly inconsequential moments of connection are quietly communicating to your brain and body that you remain significant, that you are still an integral part of the fabric of life. This message is among the most potent forms of medicine for preserving not just longevity in years, but also vitality and spirit. Another frequently overlooked reason many individuals struggle past the age of 80 involves a behavior that, on the surface, appears prudent, being cautious. However, a delicate balance exists between sensible caution and excessive wariness. Once this line is crossed, the repercussions, though rarely immediate, invariably build up over time. This shift often starts with perfectly good intentions. Perhaps a minor slip on the stairs or a moment of imbalance on an uneven sidewalk prompts a decision to reduce outdoor walks. You might stop bending down to retrieve items from low shelves or avoid climbing into the back seat of a vehicle. Gradually, you find yourself sitting more and remaining seated for longer durations. Well-meaning friends and family might even encourage this perceived caution, advising you not to overdo it or to take it easy. Before you fully grasp the change, you may have inadvertently constructed a life that feels safe but has become markedly static. What often goes unmentioned is the critical link between movement and strength. When physical activity diminishes, strength doesn't just decline in your limbs. It also affects your coordination, your equilibrium, and your overall sense of inner stability. The human body isn't akin to a machine that preserves itself through rest. It functions more like a garden that requires consistent cultivation. When activity dwindles, physiological systems don't merely pause, they begin to weaken. One of the initial areas impacted is the core musculature. Many people fail to recognize the fundamental importance of these deep trunk muscles for virtually every movement: standing upright, walking steadily, lifting objects, and even rising from a chair. If these essential muscles remain underutilized, even for relatively short periods, they begin to atrophy. As core strength diminishes, balance inevitably suffers, leading to increased unsteadiness, which can further reinforce the cycle of inactivity. Consider the story of Walter, an 82-year-old man who ceased his regular evening walks following a single slip on a damp day. Although he sustained no injury, the scare was sufficient motivation. He transitioned from walking a mile each evening to predominantly sitting and watching television. Within just 6 months, he experienced significant muscle loss. His legs felt weakened, and despite warnings from his physician, the detrimental effects had taken hold. Walter didn't stop moving because he was inherently weak. Rather, he became weak because he stopped moving. This isn't to advocate ignoring genuine risks. Employing smart safety measures, using handrails, wearing supportive footwear, keeping pathways clear, or even utilizing a cane for added stability is wise. However, there's a profound difference between proactively managing risk and passively surrendering to the fear of potential mishap. When apprehension dictates your physical boundaries, the body gradually forgets its capacity for movement. If you find yourself doing less, not due to physical inability, but stemming from a fear of potential incidents, it warrants careful attention. Ask yourself honestly, am I truly protecting myself, or am I inadvertently contributing to my own slow disappearance? Thriving beyond 80 isn't merely about avoiding falls, it's about persistently engaging in movement, even if it requires adjusting the pace, employing more deliberate actions, or enhancing carefulness. Movement serves as the body's reminder that it remains essential. It keeps physiological systems operational, maintains brain alertness, and ensures the heart continues to pump with purpose. Within each of us operates an internal, silent timekeeper, not one that audibly ticks, but one that regulates nearly every aspect of our being. Our emotional state, metabolic processes, immune responses, and even the nightly repair mechanisms within our brain. After the age of 80, this internal clock, known as the circadian rhythm, becomes particularly sensitive to disruption. A primary culprit behind its malfunction is often an imbalance in light exposure. Insufficient natural light during daytime hours and excessive artificial light during the evening. This shift might manifest subtly at first. Perhaps you find yourself napping more frequently during the day or feeling drowsy in the afternoon sun. Maybe you've reduced your time spent outdoors, particularly during colder seasons. In the evenings, you might habitually watch television or keep bright lights on while reading late into the night. While each of these adjustments may appear inconsequential on its own, their cumulative effect quietly confuses the body's internal signals regarding periods of alertness versus rest. Our bodies depend heavily on natural light patterns to maintain this rhythm. Bright morning sunlight signals the brain to awaken, initiate activity, and allocate energy resources appropriately. Conversely, the absence of light at night prompts the release of melatonin, the hormone that gently prepares the body for deep, restorative sleep. When our eyes fail to receive adequate natural daylight, or when evenings are consistently saturated with artificial brightness from screens and lamps, these vital internal cues become muddled. The consequence of this disrupted signaling often includes difficulty initiating sleep or maintaining uninterrupted sleep throughout the night. You might awaken feeling unrefreshed, even after spending a full 8 hours in bed. Daytime energy levels may fluctuate unpredictably, and cognitive functions like memory might seem slightly less sharp. Over extended periods, such chronic sleep disruption impacts more than just energy. It weakens immune function, contributes to mood instability, and elevates the risk of cognitive decline. Furthermore, there's the crucial matter of vitamin D synthesis, a process naturally stimulated by sunlight exposure on the skin. After 80, the skin's efficiency in producing vitamin D diminishes, making regular exposure to outdoor light even more critical. Insufficient vitamin D levels can negatively affect bone health, muscle strength, and immune resilience. Consider Helen, an 84-year-old woman experiencing increasing fatigue and disorientation. Standard medical tests revealed no abnormalities, her diet was unchanged, and she hadn't started new medications. The breakthrough came when her doctor advised a simple adjustment: spending 20 minutes each morning seated near a window with the blinds fully open and consciously turning off electronic screens an hour before bedtime. Within 2 weeks, Helen reported significant improvements in her sleep quality, memory recall, and overall mood. The remedy wasn't a pharmaceutical intervention, it was the strategic management of light. Therefore, if your days are predominantly spent indoors behind drawn curtains, or if your evenings are typically illuminated by the blue light emitted from phones or televisions, it's time to implement a change. Aim to get outside within an hour of waking, even for just a few minutes on a porch or balcony, allowing your eyes and skin to absorb the morning light. As evening approaches, consciously dim indoor lighting to signal your body's preparation for rest. These gentle adjustments to your light exposure rhythm are more than mere comforts. They are fundamental to survival. Many fail to realize that aging isn't solely about physical wear and tear. It's also about systemic disorganization. Restoring natural light cues, stabilizing your sleep schedule, and reinforcing daily rhythms are powerful ways to reintroduce that essential organization, effectively telling your body, even at 85, we are still on schedule, still in motion, still fully present. By the time individuals reach their 80s, many have shouldered a burden of loss far exceeding what most younger people can fully comprehend: the passing of a spouse, a sibling, cherished lifelong friends, and sometimes, tragically, even a child. While society often offers polite expressions of sympathy, what frequently goes unacknowledged is the profound cumulative impact of these losses, not merely as memories, but as physical and emotional weight carried within the body. A common pattern emerging after 80 isn't simply grief itself, but rather the suppression of these powerful emotions. It involves the gradual, often unconscious habit of internalizing pain rather than allowing its expression, of maintaining a stoic facade perhaps out of a sense of obligation or because there seems to be no one remaining who truly grasps the depth of the sorrow. However, the body possesses a long memory. When grief remains unprocessed, unspoken, unshared, and not fully experienced, it doesn't simply vanish. Instead, it becomes stored within our tissues, and over time, this accumulated emotional burden manifests physically. It can negatively influence the immune system, disrupt digestion, interfere with sleep patterns, alter hormone balances, and maintain the nervous system in a state of persistent, low-level tension. The most challenging aspect is its silent progression. Outwardly, one might appear composed, even stating they are doing fine. Yet, if shoulders feel heavier, breathing seems shallower, or that inner spark has noticeably dimmed, unresolved grief could be the underlying cause, even if the loss occurred years ago. I recall George, an 86-year-old man who lost his wife after 60 years of marriage. He rarely cried, explaining it wasn't his nature and insisting he was managing adequately. Within a year, however, he experienced significant weight loss, withdrew from his senior center activities, and developed persistent sleep problems. These issues weren't linked to a new illness, but stemmed from the physical toll of sorrow his body had never been permitted to release. Emotional pain doesn't need to be overtly dramatic to inflict damage. By the time its effects surface in physical health, the connection between cause and effect may no longer be apparent. What often sustains individuals well beyond 80 isn't solely physical robustness. It's the capacity for emotional ventilation, having safe, open channels for expressing sadness, fear, longing, and anger without judgment. Being able to articulate feelings like, "I miss her," "I still feel angry," or "I feel profoundly alone," allows the heart, metaphorically speaking, to breathe again. When the heart can breathe, the body gains the space it needs to heal. This is why long-lived individuals typically possess some form of emotional outlet. Whether it's confiding in a trusted friend, keeping a personal journal, finding solace in faith or a supportive community group, or even engaging with a therapist to process experiences carried for decades. Regardless of the specific form, the underlying principle remains constant. Emotions that are expressed can be processed and transformed, while those that are buried tend to fester. If you've been holding on to something significant, perhaps unsure of where to turn, it's crucial to create space for these feelings, not just for emotional well-being, but for your overall vitality. The heart can only bear so much before it begins to quietly withdraw. To truly live well past 80, embracing not just breath, but also feeling is essential. One of the most subtle yet impactful reasons many people experience a decline in vitality after 80 is the gradual erosion of something often taken for granted until it diminishes: daily purpose. This isn't necessarily about a grand, philosophical life mission, but rather the simpler, everyday kind of purpose, the routines and responsibilities that provide a reason to get out of bed each morning, that give structure to the day with places to go or people to connect with. Purpose in this context can manifest in modest ways: tending to houseplants before the sun becomes too intense, feeding a familiar neighborhood cat awaiting its meal, composing a letter to a grandchild, or undertaking a small repair like fixing a loose hinge on a garden gate. When these small, anchoring routines begin to fade, when mornings dawn without a clear reason to engage and evenings conclude without meaningful activity to reflect upon, an internal mechanism starts to quietly power down. The body is intricately linked to the mind. When the mind perceives a lack of reason to push forward, the body tends to follow suit. Appetite may decrease, physical movement may slow, and physiological systems responsible for maintaining health can become less active, not due to malfunction, but because they await a renewed signal of purpose to fully engage. This erosion of daily purpose is easy to overlook because it often occurs incrementally. Perhaps a weekly card game was discontinued, a church group ceased meeting, family visits became less frequent, or a long-held volunteer position ended due to physical limitations like aching knees. One might rationalize these changes as a normal aspect of aging, yet deep down, a sense of drift can emerge, the days blurring together, each one feeling quieter and less defined than the last. I once knew a woman named Ruth, aged 88, who radiated more life than many individuals half her age. She wasn't affluent, didn't enjoy perfect health, nor was she surrounded by extensive family. Yet, she possessed one unwavering constant: her routine. Every Monday involved writing postcards to homebound members of her church. Thursdays were dedicated to preparing soup, which she froze for donation to a local shelter. Daily, around 4 p.m., she would sit by her window to watch the neighborhood children return home from school, knowing their names and exchanging waves. These activities weren't glamorous, but they infused her days with texture, provided a rhythm for her heart, and gave her life a sense of continuity. Herein lies the often unspoken secret. The body tends to remain vital as long as it perceives itself as needed. Purpose, even in its smallest manifestations, acts like essential fuel. It signals cells to continue repairing, organs to maintain function, and the brain to keep learning. When that feeling of relevance diminishes, when one feels their presence no longer significantly matters to anyone or anything, the inner flame begins to wane. This explains why individuals who navigate their 80s and beyond with grace and vitality usually have activities or commitments anchoring their days, perhaps a garden, a pet, journaling, a cherished ritual, regular phone calls, or a simple morning prayer. The scale of the activity matters less than its consistency. What's crucial is the knowledge that upon waking, there exists a reason to rise. So, if you've been feeling somewhat adrift lately, as if your days lack shape or meaning, pay attention to this feeling. It's more than just sadness. It's a signal that your body is requesting rhythm, structure, connection, and purpose once more. Ultimately, longevity involves not just the mechanical beating of the heart, but the heart's desire to continue beating. That quiet, persistent desire to keep going, stay connected, and feel that one still matters is often what carries people vibrantly beyond 80, enabling lives that remain genuinely full. As we conclude this discussion, I'd like to leave you with a straightforward yet profound realization. Most individuals don't experience a significant decline after 80 due to a single, identifiable event. It's rarely a specific diagnosis, a sudden fall, or reaching a particular birthday that abruptly changes everything. More often, it's the slow, almost imperceptible fading of established habits, daily rhythms, and compelling reasons to remain actively engaged with life. Frequently, these shifts occur so subtly and gradually that the change isn't fully recognized until an inner sense of vitality feels noticeably diminished compared to before. However, the truly encouraging takeaway is this. Just as these subtle shifts can creep in slowly, they can also be reversed gradually. Taking one intentional walk outdoors, initiating one extra brief conversation while at the store, incorporating one small stretching routine into your morning, or choosing one activity today not out of obligation, but because it provides structure, fosters connection, or imbues your day with meaning. These are the accessible starting points for turning things around. Reflect on the 5 unexpected factors we explored: the loss of microsocial connections, overcautious inactivity, disrupted sleep from irregular light, suppressed emotions from loss, and the erosion of daily purpose. Which of these resonated most strongly with you? Which felt perhaps uncomfortably familiar? Most importantly, which one are you willing to take action on, even in a small, manageable way, starting today or tomorrow? The truth remains that you possess more influence than you might realize, not necessarily to halt the aging process itself, but certainly to shape the way you age. By remaining consciously aware of these quiet shifts, actively safeguarding your beneficial rhythms, protecting your sense of purpose, and allowing yourself the space to feel and process your emotions, you significantly increase the likelihood of not just reaching 80, but living well beyond it, fully, deeply, and authentically on your own terms. Thank you for spending your valuable time with us at Old Age Wisdom today. We genuinely value your perspective and would love to hear from you. Please leave a comment below sharing one insight you gained from this video and how you might consider applying it in your own life. Your thoughts and experiences are important, so please don't hesitate to share. Reading your comments provides us with great motivation and encouragement. If you found this video enjoyable and helpful, we would be grateful if you would like it, subscribe to our channel, and perhaps share it with others who might benefit. Your support enables us to continue creating informative and inspiring content. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in our next video.